Hello everyone, my name is Ashish Katyal. Today we are discussing or we are continuing our journey for Python for biology. In this today's session, we will discuss 4 different data types or the data types that are used in Python, namely numbers, second is strings, third is known as list, and fourth is known as boolean expression. So before going towards the main thing, we have to first open the Anaconda navigator, under which we will use Jupyter Notebook, or you can use Jupyter Lab also depending upon your choice. So before opening that thing, we have to first highlight the basic thing of Python, that is Python is a programming language that according to its design aim to concentrate or combine remarkable power with very easy to use syntax. So in this case, anyone can learn Python by simply using commands, and it is easy to understand also by the user. So in case of numbers, we will discuss basic calculation. In case of string, we will see how we can use DNA, RNA and proteins. And in case of list, we will define how we can use different organisms at a time or different kind of variables at a time. And at the last boolean, we will see how we can solve the problem using and, or, and not logic operators expressions in case of Python. So we are the page has been opened. So I am clicking on Jupyter Notebook. So it is opening. So I am naming it as Python for biology session 1. So it is opening, and after that, when it will open, then I will click on new and I will click on Python 3. I am using Python third version 3.11. So you can check your version also. So in this case, in the last video, I have already told you how to install Anaconda and how we can go for this Jupyter Notebook. So in case of Jupyter Notebook, when you use Control Enter, it will execute the cell. If you use Shift Enter, then it will execute the cell as well as it will add the cell at the end along with that. So it is better. So I am renaming it. So in this case, I am using Python for biology, Python for biology session 1. The earlier session was 0 session or the introduction session. So in this case, I am using 1. So session 1, the big name it is there. So it's fine for me. I can execute it. So in this case, the first thing I am doing is making a comment. For making a comment, we have to use a hashtag symbol. So I am just writing basic calculations in Python. So if I am executing it, that is Shift Enter, along with that a cell has appeared. So I am adding 30 plus 80. So here it is. So it will give me the result. Along with that, the Python uses BODMAS rule, that is B for bracket, O for operation, M for multiplication, D for division, A for addition, and S for subtraction. So for example, in this case, I am using this thing 8 plus 5. Along with that, if I am multiplying it, along with that 4 minus 1, so it is there. So this kind of execution, if we do it, answer is 52. If I am not using bracket, the answer will be different. So you can see in this case, I am copy pasting it and I am changing it in such a way that the BODMAS rule will be applicable. So first multiplication, then addition and subtraction will take place. So answer will be different. So you can see we can also use exponential thing, that is, for example, if I want to find what is the power of 80, that is third power of 80 or 80 raised to power 3. So we can easily execute this thing in case of Python as compared to the other thing which is available in other language. So we can use big numbers also. For example, as you see, so if I want certain big numbers, for example, I want 80 raised to power 100. So something raised to power is double star. If I am using single, then it is a single star. That is, if I am using just multiplication, then single star is used or asterisk mark is used. If double asterisk mark is there, it is raised to the power. So in this case, it is quite big value. So we can use that, or we can also use certain other functions. For example, I want to find out you can say modulus of that. For doing modulus thing, we use percentage symbol. So in this case, you can see modulus of this particular thing, I am dividing by 300, for example. So what will be the answer is 100. So it is there. So you can see all the things. Along with that, if I am using division, so for example, normal division works like in a simple manner. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So but if you can see the results are 2.5. I have used integers 5 and 2, but it is giving me the result in the form of that is floating. So if I am using 5L divided by 2L, then what will be the result? So it is not giving me the result, because in this case normally L recognize, in case of Python 2 it recognize the integer. For example, I am changing it in this manner. So in this case it is not giving me the result. So rather than doing that, if I am using this divided by 2, what will be the answer? It will be giving me the integer value. It will not give me the floating value. So if I am using 5.0, that is a floating point, along with that I am dividing it by floating, then it will obviously give me the result in the form of sorry, it is not 2.0, so it is there. So I am executing it. It is giving me floating result. Or you can say that if I am using one floating and one other one, so it will give me the same result, that is 2.5. Again, if you are using the same thing, but in the division, if you are not using that thing, that is floating point, then it will again give us the floating point. Or you can say that if you are using just 5 point and it is giving 2, then it is this is floating point 2.5. To avoid this floating point, you have to use double slash, that is after that it will not give me the result, because here it is 0.5 point, so it is giving me 2.0, otherwise it is simply giving me the integer. So this kind of division we can do in case of Python. Along with that, the second thing which we can do in case of Python is naming the variables. How we can name the variables? The good practice is we should not start with number or special symbol. So for example, also the name of variable should be simple and descriptable. It should show what kind of things we are showing. So for example, I'm saying that my number, so my number, it is there. So a number I am defining and is equal to, for example, 89, it is there. So I am executing it. The number has been stored in my 89 has been stored in my number variable, that is my number. So I can simply check my number. So you can see if I am executing, it is available, that is 89. So for example, there is an I want to find out the area of the circle. So for example, so in case of, for example, pi, if I am executing it, there is nothing information that is available in case of Python. So I have to find out, I have to write what is the value of pi in case of Python. So it is 3.14, 3.1415926, something like that. I am defining it. So the variable has been defined. Along with that, I am defining the radius r, which is equal to, for example, 100. I am defining. So I have to find out the area of circle. So area of circle I can define. So in this case, I am executing it, or in the same line you can execute it by simply clicking enter, and you can simply say what is the area of circle. So I am writing area, area, area is equal to pi r square. The formula is pi r square. So it is pi into r square, means we have to use brackets, r into r, that is r into r, or you can use r raised to power 2. For raising the power, you have to use 2 asterisk signs. So in this case, I am not using asterisk 2 times, rather than I am using r into r. So the result will be executed and stored in area. So what will be the answer? So you can check simply typing area. So in this case, you can see, or you can use a print command also, print, or if you are using print command, you have to write the string, means you have to write what kind of thing it should represent in the form of output. So I'm writing the output of the circle is area of the circle is. So I want to do that. So for doing that, in the subsequent session, I will tell you how to define string. When we define the string, it is basically uses single quotes or double quotes. So in this case, I'm using double quotes. The output, or maybe the area of the circle is, the area of the circle is, and I'm, because area has been the result has been stored in area, so I have to add that. That is known as concatenation, or you can simply make a comma and after that write the area, because in this case the area is in the form of values and this thing is in the form of string. So we have to convert it into string. Str function will be used and we have to use this thing in such a form so that it will be converted, and after that we will use this thing, and I am executing. So the area of the circle is 3.31415.96926, something like that, it is there. So the other thing which we can define in this case is related to, you can say, DNA sequence. So for DNA sequence we are referring to strings. So we are referring to strings in, for example, Python. And Python is very good language because it handles any sequence or characters that beginning and end with single and double quotes. So strings is basically defined in Python like that. So in case of DNA also, if we have to define a DNA or RNA or protein, we have to define in either single quotes or double quotes. The only thing you have to keep in mind is it should be balanced in nature. So in this case I am executing. So for example, I am writing my name. So my name is Ashish. So it is my name and is equal to, so I am writing, so Ashish Katyal, or the full name is Ashish Katyal. So I am executing it. My surname is equal to, you can say it is Katyal. It has been executed. So simply you can see my name is what. So if I execute it, it automatically show me the Ashish Katyal thing. So we can also use the single quotes also. So for example, in case of this, if I am using single quote, both single quotes should be used, otherwise it will give me error. So in this case I am writing my surname. What is my surname? I want to find out. Or you can use simple print command. After that it will automatically show surname. So I am writing it again, it is showing me the Katyal thing. So both things are there. So how can we define a DNA sequence or amino acid sequence? So a DNA sequence can be defined easily. For example, I am defining a DNA, and because you already know, in case of DNA, it consists of 4 different letters. One is known as A, second is known as T, third is known as C, and fourth is known as G. That is adenosine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So ATGC. So I'm using a combination of this ATGC. So all the things are available and just executing it. DNA is already available in this case. So you can see we can also define RNA. The only difference is it consists of AUGC rather than ATGC. So rather than T, it consists of U. AUU, for example, GGG, U, it's a combination of that. So I'm writing a random RNA. So RNA, you can see it is already available in that case. Also, you can define amino acid. So I'm defining an amino acid. The thing you have to keep in mind, it should be equally balanced. For example, if you are using single quote, then it should be ended with single quote. If it is ended with the double quote, then it will generate an error. For example, if I'm using a single quote, for example, one thing you also should keep in mind is that whenever we want to define an amino acid, in normal case BJOUXZ is not there. So 20 letters of amino acids are there normally. So BJOUXZ of English alphabets are not there. Other than that, we can define or we can use for amino acid sequences. So A, D, C, 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 for example, T, 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 and example D, G, K, L. So all the things are there. So it is a amino acid sequence. I have defined amino acid is there. So the only thing it is showing me the error because here I am using a single quote and double quote together. So either it is both double quotes or both single quotes. So I've changed that. Now it has stored the value. So you can see here. So for example, I have to write in a single line, the DNA sequence is this, the RNA sequence is this, and amino acid sequence is this. So we can use a simple command that is known as print command. So in this case, I am writing, because all the things are written in strings, so we have to write in double quotes or single quotes. The given DNA sequence is, because the DNA is already available in string, so we do not have to convert it into any string str function we will not use. So the given DNA sequence is, I am using a comma and then DNA. Along with that comma, so I am using and the, so and I will use, okay, it's fine because I am using I'm changing it into capital letters, and the RNA sequence is, again I am using this, and comma, because RNA is also a string, so I'm not using str function to balance that. Why we are using str? Because if something is available in string and another thing is available in integer, either you convert string into integer, which is not possible. We can convert integer into string by using a str function. So we have done in the previous thing. So I'm using comma, and along with that, and sorry, all in capital is there, and the amino acid sequence is, for example, is, I'm taking some time, and along with that comma, and amino acid is represented by AA. So I'm executing it. So you can see the given DNA sequence is this, and the RNA sequence is this, and the amino acid sequence is this. We have easily executed it. In case of biology, the term sequence refer to the combination of nucleotide as well as amino acid. So we have shown this thing in this case. Along with that, we can also find out the length of that string. For example, you want to find what is the length of my DNA sequence, what is the length of my name, what is the length of my RNA sequence. So we can simply use a command that is known as len command. So we have to find out the length of the strings. So it's a comment. I'm just finding len of, for example, what was my name. So my name was there, my surname was there. So what is the length of my name? My name, that is my full name. So it is 13. Len of my surname. You should keep in mind that the variable which you have defined earlier, it should match with that of the thing which you are calling. If it is not matching, because you can say R as well as Python is a very case sensitive language, so they will not execute that. So in this case, you can see the length of my surname is 6. You can also find out the length of the DNA sequence which you have defined earlier. So the length of the DNA sequence is this. The length of RNA is also there. So you can see this, and the length of amino acid sequence is also there, that is AA, which is there. So you can see that. Along with that, we can find out the indexing, the position at which it is available. For example, in my name, you can see what is the index value at index value 3, what is the character that is available in that. So for doing that, we need indexing. Indexing is nothing but the first symbol or the place in the string that has index value of 0 in the Python. For example, in Python, it always starts with 0. So I'm using indexing or the place. So you can you should keep one thing in mind. The length of a string is, for example, n, while the index is always one less than that of the length of the string. So for example, my length of the name is 13 characters, full name is 13 characters, but the end point, the end point of the end index value is always one less, that is 12, n minus 1, that is 13 minus 1 is 12. So in this case, you can see, for example, my name was there. So my name, so for defining the index value, we use big brackets, or so the my name, what is the, you can say 12th value, I want to say. So it is Katyal, L at the L. But if you want to use instead of 12, 13, it will show out of the bound because it is not available. String is out of the range because total length is, you can see the my name is 13 characters are there, and the index value, the maximum index value should be 12. So, but we can also use negative index value. For example, negative 1, it will show me again L because it will starting at the end position, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 from the end. But in this case, we can find out the minus 13 value, which is nothing but the first position of my name, that is Ashish. So you can see both the things. My name minus 1 is L and minus 13 is, you can see in this case A, capital A. You can see we can also use this kind of function in case of DNA sequence also. For example, this kind of indexing value is quite helpful in case of DNA sequence for finding out the exon or the coding sequence that are available in our genome sequence or the DNA sequence. For example, right now I am doing the simple thing. For example, I want to find what is the position at what is the length of that 38. So in this case, I want to find what is the 32th thing, that is 30 at 32 index point, what will be the value, or what is the character that is available or the base pair that is available. You can use that in this case. Along with that, we can slice out this thing by using index value. So for example, as I earlier told you, we can find out various exon regions that are available in our DNA sequence or the genome sequence. So for example, I am writing exon or I'm using capital, or you can say, because it's a case sensitive language, I'm not using. So first axon which is available in this case, axon which is equal to which is available in case of a DN sequence, which ranges from 5th to this, and column is known as finding out the range from where it is starting, from where it is ending. So for example, I am saying the first thing, it is the first base pair is starting at 5th index value and it ranges till 10, but it will not include the 10th value. It will go towards 10, but it will include till 9. So first value is included and second value is not included, so it is excluded. So in this case you can see it is there. So axon 1 is what? So you will get a good idea by using the name thing. For example, my surname I am talking about. First I will show what is my surname. So surname, that is Katyal. So in this case, for example, if you want to find out the for example, my surname, and in this case from 1st to 5th, it means what? So from 1st means it is 0, 1st means this, and till 5th. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. 5th one is this one, but it will not include this L because it will exclude the endpoint. So in this case, it starts with 1, that is A, T, Y, A, but it will not include the last one because the first value is included, the second value is not included, the last value is not included. So in this case, you can see ATYA is there because the fifth value is L, it is not included in this case. Similarly, in this case of axon, you can see, so for example, I am saying axon 1 is this and axon 2 along with that, I am saying axon 2 is also there, axon 2 is also there, which is stuck with that particular axon 1. So I am saying DNA, and it is starting at 10th position and it is ranging towards this 23rd. So both the things are there. So what is axon 1? Along with that axon 2 I can find out. In this case axon 2, both the things are there. So in this case only second value will be there, so we have to execute it separately, or we can use print command. So print command, we are using print the first axon is, because axon is again a string value, so we do not have to convert it into a string variable using str. Along with that we can use the second, and the second axon is, in this case I am using this colon. Again here I will not using colon, so in this case I am using it. Axon 2, it is there, we have to use a comma so that it can separate, make a space accordingly. So in this case it will execute. So the first axon is this, so spelling mistake is there, axon is this, and the second intron axon is this one. So you can see the length are different because ranges are different. So in this case we can also use a concatenation thing. So concatenation means the overall coding region. For example, I am saying it's a combination of axon 1 and axon 2. So overall or coding sequence, for example, coding sequence I am saying it's a combination of axon 1 as well as axon 2. So axon 1, so here you can see it is giving green because here there is no space, so it can generate error. So you have to write the same way as you have defined. So axon 2, it is there, again I have made a mistake. So in this case the all things are available in that, the coding sequence. So you can simply say print, or you can simply type coding sequence. It will give me the sequence that consists of both axon 1 as well as axon 2, but it is good to write the print command, the complete coding sequence is, for example I am writing and comma, it is available in coding sequence, which we have done in the previous cell, that is coding, and it is sequence. Same thing we have to write. It's better to write the short name, otherwise you have to again type the long name. This kind of thing, string concatenation or addition we can do in case of Python, which is very handy in nature. Along with that, we can also define 3 different range operator. For example, in case of my surname, again I am using, so I am writing my full name, I am writing my name, that was my name, Ashish Katyal. So in this case of my name, I am using three different range operators, that is 3 to 10, and along with that I'm using 2. So it is saying that you have to start at third index value and you have to go till 10th. Till 10th you have to go, but we can include till 9. Along with that, you have to every time select the second variable, second not variable, that is second character in that particular string. So in this case you can see it is starting from third, so it is 0, 1 and 2. So here it is starting as 3. Third is I, so it is I, and it is third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, so and 10th. So it from here to here it is there. The range operator 3 to 10 means that is still 10 it has to go, and it has to include the every second value. So first value is I, second value is after 1 2, that is second value is H, second value is A. So in this case you can see there is a space, that's why it is using K. Along with that, this is T, and after that there is a 10th variable we cannot include, so two particular characters are not coming, so it is last one is T only, so it is not doing that. So we can use this kind of thing, that is slicing from the index value of 3 to 10. Along with that, we want every second character from that particular value. We can also use list thing. List is quite handy in case of Python, because every time we cannot define same kind of things together. So in case of list, we can include any kind of thing. So it's a kind of special container in case of Python for the data, that is known as list. It is a convenient way to pack the bunch of things together. We can use different kind of things. For example, I am defining an even number. So this is even numbers, and in that even numbers, and the variable name is even number, and I'm defining, you already know what are even numbers. So it is 2 comma 4 comma 6 comma 8 comma 10 and 12 I am also including. So these kind of even numbers are there. And you can also define country in case of, for example, you are using strings. So these are the country, so I'm defining that. So for defining strings, you have to use either single quotes or double quotes. I'm using combination of both. So I'm from India, so it is India. So the US, I'm saying USA, here it is, and the United Kingdom, so I'm using UK, and along with that, for example, I'm using Japan, so I'm using Japan. So all the things are available, and you can check the country. So you can see India, US, UK, Japan. Along with that even number you can also say. You can easily see it is working and all the values are available. That is, a list is a container of any kind of thing. So in this case we can use a combination of that. So for example, India, along with that I can use 33 comma any float variable, float I'm using, comma, for example this thing is there, and we can also use boolean expression, that is true false also. So true. So for example, so in this case if I'm using quotes, then it becomes a string. Otherwise, if we are using true and false in capital, then it is a boolean expression. So you can see in this case true is there. If I'm not using true as like that, so if I'm converting it into a boolean expression, then you can see it is giving me an error because true is not defined here. So in this case you have to use this like that, or you can also use list inside and list also. So 1, so it is 11 comma 33 comma 65. So these kind of things are there, so you can see that. So if you want to find what is the position of what is the length of this country, so length of this len is the command. So len country. So in this case you can see 8th. So I want to find what is the 8th thing. So for finding out the 8th thing, you have to use the index value n minus 1, that is 7th one. So I'm using country, and I'm defining the 7th one. So this is 11, 33 and 65, but you want to find the length of that 7th index value. So you can use this len command country again of 7th. So you can easily find it is giving me error, because in case of this we have to use bigger brackets. So bigger brackets we can use, and after that it will give me the length. So it consists of 3 different things, that is 11, 33 and 65. So these things are available in that case, so you can easily define that. Along with that, we can also add two strings together. So for example, one is even number, along with that there is a country. Can we do that? We can check. For example, country 7 value and even number, both are numbers. First we calculate whether it is doing that thing or not. Even number, along with that we have to add with the country. So it has been added. So first 2, 4, 6 even numbers are there, then India is there, all the things are there. So you can see after doing that, the length of the country was 8th. The length of the even number is, so you can check, for example, len of even numbers was 6. So 6 plus 8 should be 14. So I'm adding it and making it a total, TOT, something like that, and executing it. Same thing is there, and I have to find out the length of tot. So we have added two different lists together. So you can see 14 is there. We can use a range operator also, or we can also use, before range operator, we can also multiply out that. So for example, instead of this, we are multiplying it. It will be difficult because in this case, it may give me certain kind of errors. So errors, because we cannot do that. Different kinds are there. We can add that, but in case of multiplication, for example, we can do in case of certain, for example, even number is there. So in this case, so even number into 3, I am saying that. So it is the same kind of thing. So it can 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All the things are there. In this case, we can do that multiplication. Now we are using a range operator. So for example, new list, I am defining it, and new list, in this case, I am defining in such a way that it consists of a range. So a list can be defined by list operator, that is list, and a range thing we are using. So for example, I want to define numbers from 1 to 143, for example, if I am executing it. So what it consists, new list, these all things are available, that is 1 from 143. You can see, because 143 is not included, it is excluded in the range. So in this case, it is only including till 142, 143. It goes towards 143, but it only includes 142. 143 is excluded. So in this case, I am not executing it. So in this case also, so for example, I am using a, you can say, index function. So from 30th index value till the end. For example, I have left it blank. So it starts with 30, it goes towards the end. So towards the end is 142. So starts from 30, that is 30th position is 31st, because it starts with 0. Index values always starts with 0. So it starts with 0 and ended with 142. All the things are there. Or you can also do the reverse thing. So instead of, so for example, 143, you are saying, or 142. If I am using 142, it will include 141, not 142. So from, for example, I am making it simple. So 123 to 142. So if I am doing that, it means 124 to 142. 142 is the end thing which is available in this case. So it is including that thing. In this case, we can also use the negative operator also. For example, I am using -1. From reverse position, I am including till, for example, till end, till the end. So it is giving me 142, the value, 142th value, that is, it is giving me as a result. So we can do certain kind of experiments in this case, and so we can use the change value. We can also change the value. For example, I'm using a thing that is, for example, India is a variable which is 1. So first it is a number. Now I'm changing it this to certain string. For example, I'm using 1. So it has been changed. So earlier, for example, if I called this thing, for example, in this case, I'm calling it INDIA. So it will give me 1. But if I'm doing this thing, that is, it has override that thing. So it will give me 1 in this case. Also, we can use is a list thing also to add certain things. For example, my name was there, and under my name, I want to make certain list. For example, my friends. So my friend's name I want to put because multiple names are there. So I will use a list, and list is defined by a big bracket. So for example, my friends are Ram. For example, Komal is there. For example, Bhargavi is there. So these are my friends. So it has been there. So for example, if I want to add another friend of mine, so my friends are there, and under my friend I want to include another list. For example, I'm saying Sangeeta. Along with that, Gaurav is there. So two names are I want to add. So it will give me Ram, Komal, Bhargavi, Sangeeta, but it has not been saved. For making my friends list is already same. So you can check that. So in that case, you can use an append command. My friends. In that case, dot append command is used. APPEND, that adds the value at the end. Append, and then append command we will use in such a way that it will add towards the end. So in this case, I am adding this thing. For example, I am adding Gaurav because I am using a list. So in this case, I am checking it will give me error or not. So my friends dot friends. So at the end, it is not giving me any result. Oh, sorry, because I have defined in a wrong way. So you can see Gaurav has been added. If you want to add multiple entries, then you can use this thing, that is, for example, Sangeeta and comma, for example, Gaurav. You can use single quote or double quote depending upon your situation. So these kind of things are there. So I have removed this thing. You can check whether it is working or not. In this case, it is working, and it has added a separate thing. So instead of writing this, if I am writing this thing, separate list, we do not have to add. So in this case, it is giving me error. So you cannot give two arguments simultaneously in case of append. If you want to give more than two, you have to give in the form of list. So list we can give. So in this case, so I'm converting it into a list so that it can be easily added. Otherwise, it will add at the end. The main function of append is to add anything at the end. So the conclusion from this thing is that list can be mutable, but in case of you can say numbers as well as strings, they are not mutable. At the end, I want to end up this particular session with Boolean expression. I know that this session has been quite long, but we have to conclude that thing with the last data type, that is known as Boolean expressions. So that is true and false. I will not take much time. For example, I want to say I want to check whether 15 is greater than 10 or not. So it is correct, or maybe 10 is less than 9 or not. So it is false. So this kind of thing we can use, or we can use comparison operator also. For example, 400 is equal to 6 into 24 plus 54 into something 90. So it is giving me false. It is not the correct thing. Or if I want to check the string length also, for example, Ashish is equal to Ashish. So for example, so Ashish. So in this case, I'm using double thing or maybe single thing. So in this case, or if it is exactly same, so it will give me the correct answer. So these kind of thing we can do. For example, I want to check xzone 1 is equal to xzone 2 or not. Xzone 1 which we have defined is equal to xzone 2 or not. So it is false because both lengths are different. So we can check this thing in case of Boolean expression whether it is true or false. Or we can also check whether two particular combinations are same. For example, I am saying 11, 22, 33 is equal to we can say 33, we have shuffled this thing, is it equal to or not? So it is not equal. So in this case, we can also use certain kind of logical expression. For example, and operator we can also use. For example, 20 is greater than 10, and also I want to find 10 is less than 20. So this is true, both are true, then AND operator will operate. For example, any one condition, for example, 220 is less than 10, so which is false, and I'm using OR operator along with that. So or 10 is less than 20, So one condition is correct, so answer is true. Or we can also use not operator also. In this case, a not operator is quite helpful for finding out whether that particular situation is, for example, not 10 is less than 10 is less than 20. So answer is false. So in this case, you can check the result. Also, at the end, I want to conclude, for example, axon 1 is equal to axon 2, and for example, overall sequence I want to find, for example, okay, it's axon 1 and axon 2 are greater than 100. So this is an error because both are strings and the names are quite different in this case. So in this case also AND operator is not occurring because it is not supporting between the string operators. Here it is numbers and here it is strings that are available. For example, overall, what was the name of the overall sequence which we have defined earlier. So we can check that, and based upon that thing, we can change our number. So that was coding sequence. So I am checking, it is greater than, so it is giving me false. So that was the thing which we have concluded by the basics of Python in case of biology. We will, in the subsequent you can say sessions, we will cover more about the detail of these topics. That is how we can use various kind of functions in case of biology. How can we find out the GC content? How can we find out the melting point of the DNA sequence? All the things we will cover in the subsequent session. Thank you so much.